All-American is back with season 7, and we're going to be talking about episode 1, which was a pretty good episode. If anybody was missing Spencer, he may not have been in the episode physically, but they did have him do a voiceover. While that's going on, Jordan's at the school with his players, they're working out, and he didn't think they were pushing it. And one of the new characters, Yasi, was jokingly testing him, talking about that's a lot of talk from someone with a clipboard and a whistle. Now y'all know Jordan not gonna go for that. He joined in on the workout too. Speaking of new characters, we get introduced to Kingston, also known as KJ, and his parents. He let them know that he was going to go kick it with Yasi before they go back to Oakland, and his dad was about to tell him something, but his wife told him not now. We'll talk more about this later. It was something close to what I thought it was. Back at the school, Coach Bobby showed up, and he didn't like what he saw. He thought they weren't taking things seriously. After the players left, Coach told Jordan does he realize that he's their coach, not their teammate. Jordan said he got it, but I don't think he does because there's going to be a point in time, meaning this episode, when one of them messes up. It's nothing wrong with him being cool with them or being there for them, but he has to get things in line so they don't think everything is not serious. And also respect him as a coach. But he is still new to coaching and things will work out over time. Moving along, we see a familiar house. It's Spencer's old house. Amina and Coop are there, and Coop is there watching Amina. Just taking a guess, Preach either bought or is renting the house, which is nice. They let people who are close to them use the house. When the two of them are talking, Coop brings up how Amina was looking at Khalil's social media. Amina tried to play it out talking about they're just friends and he's not a wannabe thug. Coop already know that she got a crush on him. And if Preach finds out, you know he gonna be watching them like a hawk. Over at the Baker's house, Jordan's talking to Layla about what happened at the school, and it seems like he thinks Coach Bobby is overreacting a little. He brought up how he was just like those players a couple of years ago and that they can open up to him. Layla says something that makes sense. Maybe he just wants him to have boundaries, and has he talked to him about it? Jordan didn't hear a word she said. He was focused on his phone. He was talking about how his players lock in when it's time and they get the job done. Then he started having some doubts. He asked Layla, was he right about everything? She said, oh, so he was talking to her, because talking to someone means that they listen and not on his phone trading jokes with his players on social media. She did question, why do they have access to his social media? He talking about it's public, everyone does. Well, he's gonna have to change that. He apologized, he let her know that he was listening and they made up. But what was funny was someone was outside honking a car horn. He told her that it was some of them from the football team. They were going to go get something to eat before the training session. And what did she just say? So he went to go tell them that it wasn't happening. Back to Kingston's parents, it's revealed that they're going to be getting a separation. You could tell that they both still care about each other, but she thinks this is what's best for now. And the reason that she's there in the first place is for them to figure out how they're going to tell their son. When he finds out, it's not going to be a good reaction. That's his parents, and he most likely would want them to stay together, but sometimes things don't go as expected. Now, Yasi and Kingston are at Crenshaw High, and KJ tells him that he's nervous about his junior year. It's his first year without his pops being the head coach, and Yasi thought he was fired, but he told KJ that he's taking time off for himself. We know the reason why. Then the scene went to a teacher trying to have a conversation with Khalil because he's failing and might have to repeat the 11th grade. And when he was walking in the halls, he bumped into Kingston, and Kingston apologized, and he still got mad. And Yasi threw in there about him being the least likely to graduate. He didn't have to add that in there. He already mad. He came into the show mad. Plus, it's a whole new season. He mad again. Once Khalil left, we find out from Yasi that Khalil's dad is some big deal gangbanger. Hopefully, Khalil doesn't let his dad influence him too much. Back to Coop and Amina. Amina's gonna go to the beach, and when Coop seen what she had on, she knows she wanted to tell her to go change. But she didn't, and Amina asked Coop for some money like she an ATM machine. Coop said she thought she was grown. Grown folks got their own money. She told Coop she's working on getting a job, so Coop sent her $20. Also, when Coop brought up what she had on, it led to her asking who is she trying to prove that she's grown to, them or herself. In the first episode, it does seem like she's pushing that she's grown or that she has a handle on things. She shouldn't be in a rush to grow up so fast. But we'll find out in the future episode. I think from one of the trailers, she had a talk with Layla, so we'll probably find out then. Over at the school, it's time for practice, and Jordan can't find Yasi. He asked one of the players, and he said since it was optional, he didn't go. Jordan told them that it's not optional, even though they said it's optional, and one of the players knew that, well, at least some of them went. Of course, Coach Bobby was going to point that out. He asked Jordan who was missing, and he told him it was a misunderstanding, and he's going to go take care of it. Once he left, he was checking his phone. He saw Yasi on social media taking shots. He got to go handle that. Yasi is the quarterback. He got to stay focused if he's trying to be great. And I knew this was going to happen to Jordan, just not that quick. And he probably did it because he seems like the cool coach. I mean, Jordan is new and he has pressure on him, especially with how Coach Bobby's acting. Everyone's at the beach, including Amina and her friend, and Amina's friend brought up that Khalil's not showing up anytime soon. We all know he mad somewhere, but she told Amina she could have had Dion, but Amina said he was like a brother to her. The only reason he probably didn't say too much was because he was having flashbacks of Preach at Spencer and Olivia's wedding, wilding out when she caught the bouquet. During that conversation, Amina finds out that Khalil could get kicked out of school if he doesn't repeat the 11th grade. That means she's going to have a talk with him about it later on. Over at the Baker's house, Layla and Coop are having a talk about how they're currently doing, and that's when we hear about what happened to everyone else. Half of them moved to New York. You got some playing football. One of them's on Broadway. Obviously, that's Patience. Olivia took her best-selling book and turned it into a TV show, and Asher and Mrs. Montez are working at a new high school. And in that moment, Coop decided that they're going to be having more fun than their friends, so they're going to be going to Layla's club. It was good to hear about what happened to the original characters, especially since some people were wondering what happened to Asher and Mrs. Montez since KJ's dad is taking over. It is different watching the first episode and not seeing all the original characters, but we will see some of them eventually in the season. But it is interesting to see how they handle the new characters in the show. Jordan arrived at the beach. He done puffed his chest up. He wondering why is his quarterback at the beach and not at practice with the rest of his teammates. I gotta add in, he's saying this in front of everyone. You know it's gonna be people acting extra. I mean, listening to the conversation. Yasi tried to calm Jordan down, but he wasn't going for it. He let him know that practice is mandatory. I thought Yasi was just gonna go ahead and go to practice. He said, oh, now Jordan wanna be responsible. So he proceeds to show everyone a clip of Jordan drinking and wild time flies. I think that was from season 1 or 2. And remember earlier when Layla said maybe they shouldn't have access to his social media. And she was right, that worked against him. Over at Layla's club, her and Coop are drinking. Coop talking about how she want to be grown and not an adult, and then she was trying to motivate Layla. But Layla thinks that she did everything she mostly wanted to do, and just then, because they didn't lock the door, KJ's dad, Cassius, walked in. I apologize if I mispronounced that name. They had guessed what he was doing there since he was going to be day drinking. They're going to be having a talk, bruh. They already ahead of him with the drinking. Back to the beach, Amina's having a talk with Khalil about him repeating the 11th grade, and I guess the people he came with, he didn't want them to hear it. When they were talking, he kind of told her what to do, stop drinking and go home. She got a little mad, something that they got in common. I'm just joking. But it looks like he was just trying to look out for her. She was irritated and told Khalil that him and everyone else is telling her what she is or isn't, and that she can do what she wants. And she went over there to kiss Kingston, and that right there is where that rivalry started. After Amina left, Khalil went over there to try to check Kingston. Kingston didn't just sit there and not say anything. He brought up how Khalil was too stupid to graduate, and he got punched by Khalil. Now, Kingston was going to fight back, but one of Khalil's people pulled out a weapon, and I don't blame Kingston for acting the way he did. He was ready to go, but after Kingston left, Khalil did think his people did too much by doing that. At least he had some sense to know that wasn't right. Over at the club, KJ's dad is telling them about his relationship, about how they both still care about each other, and how he basically mentions that he wasn't the same as before. They did ask him why did he change or what happened. He said duty happened. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what all happened there. I do think that talk with them was something that he needed. Sometimes people change, and if he wants to get back to the person he was before, it's gonna take some time. KJ's with his parents and he's ready to go back to Oakland. He don't want no parts of where he's at. They trying to figure out why he's so ready to leave, and then they find out that he got hurt. In addition, in that moment, KJ finds out that his parents are getting a separation and he's moving in with his dad. And as far as his mom goes, she's gonna stay in Oakland, and he got upset. I don't blame him. In that moment, he finds out that his parents aren't gonna be together, and it's just being brought up now after a moment that was scary for him. After that, him and Amina run into each other. She was there applying for a job, so she trying to get that money. It was good that she was upfront about why she had kissed him. Even though she thinks Khalil isn't paying attention to her, I think he does. At that point, they both told each other their names. Amina was gonna leave, but she could tell something was bothering him. The idea Amina came up with was them going to the school, since he said him throwing the football helps him out. If you're wondering how they got inside the school, she used her dad's keys. She just out here taking stuff. While they were there, Jordan showed up and he had a quick chat with Kingston, and Kingston told him that he was a little nervous to change schools. Jordan let him know to forget all of that. He's seen how he plays and that he will be making an impact no matter where he lands. Kingston and Amina were gonna leave, but Jordan decided that he'll throw the football with him. Before Amina left, Kingston let her know that the guy that she's trying to impress, it's on him if he can't see what's in front of him. Not gonna front, I agree with Jordan. That was kind of smooth. I think besides Jordan becoming cool with Khalil, I can see him also being cool with Kingston as well. Especially since I think they're gonna have Kingston and Amina around each other, so he's bound to run into Jordan again. Speaking of Amina, she's back home. Khalil is there. Coop let him in, but you know, Coop not out there after all that drinking they did. She probably sleep. Khalil was there to apologize. He told her that when Dion left, he asked him for two things. The first thing was for him to look out and protect Amina like she was his sister, and the second thing is for him to stay out of trouble. Then Khalil started talking about how he might have messed up, that the situation that he's in is unfixable. But Amina let him know he's the one who got her up to speed on pre-calculus. The problem is his attendance, not his grades. And this is a chance for him to get back on track. Before Khalil left, Amina told him that dropping out of school is the opposite of him staying out of trouble. Now we know why Khalil was acting that way earlier towards Amina. He was keeping his promise to Dion. I think he will do good in school. It may be annoying to repeat a grade, but at least he still has a chance to do better. Showing up sometimes might be tough, but once he's consistent, he will get things done. Jordan got back home and he got a message from Spencer. It was the voiceover that we heard at the beginning of the episode. He gave him some words of encouragement, and he let him know that for the new generation, he's that person there to help people. To be the person who helps someone navigate the ups and downs of life, to remember who he is and what he brings to the table, and to take those players all the way to their dream. First off, they did a good job working Spencer into the episode. They even mentioned him when Yasi and KJ were at the school. As far as Jordan goes, I think he will do a good job coaching. He's new to it and he's trying to get used to things. And Coach Bobby is being a little tough on him, but it's not like he hasn't faced tough situations before. This is just another thing for him to adjust to. Speaking of Coach Bobby, Jordan had made a new social media for him being a coach, and Coach Bobby seen he put his personal Instagram on private. We see another staff member say, what does he have against Jordan? And he's basically being too tough on him. And Coach Bobby said he has his reasons. I think Coach Bobby is Billy's brother. I don't know if him and Billy had a falling out or whatever, but something happened there. I mean, even GW didn't seem too excited to talk about him. If he is Billy's brother, I can't wait to see how they revealed that and his past. While all that was going on, KJ went to go speak with his parents and they're all good now. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good first episode, them introducing some stuff about the new characters and us finding out what happened to the old characters, and situations that are going to be popping up in the future. But I'm interested to hear y'all thoughts. Comment below. What did you all think about the first episode?